Getting fit and staying fit changes as we get older. Now, I've got most of that to come, but tech editor Matt here, despite not looking it, recently ticked off his big 5-0 milestone. He's been chatting with coaches to find out the best way to stay on top of your fitness, whether you're an experienced cyclist or just getting into riding. Is that grey hair, Matt?
Grey hair singular. If it was just the one, I'd be more than happy. I don't quite know how you guys found out my real age, but it's true. I'm old enough not to understand things like the TikToks. I've also come to realise that despite my best efforts to deny it, the rewards of training don't quite seem to be as high as they were in my 30s and 40s. Now, like the vast majority of over 50s, my racing days are probably behind me.
Oh, come on, never say never.
No, they're very much behind me. But I still want to maximise my fitness.
And I'm guessing that you also don't want to spend endless hours religiously following a structured plan.
No, to be honest, I want to be lean, I want to be healthy as possible, and I want to be able to hold my own on a group ride for as little effort as possible, really. I was keen to find out how I could make the most of riding a bike as I get older, but most importantly, while still enjoying it. So luckily, the super experienced coach, Joe Beer, was on hand to point me in the right direction. Okay, so we'll start with what intensity you should be riding at.
Well, surely, unless you want to spend hours and hours on the bike, then the harder you push, the bigger the gains.
You'd have thought that, right? But actually, Joe Beer said pretty much the exact opposite.
Whether you look at Kipchoge in, relatively new papers on elite runners, or you look at, a particular, triathlete or, somebody in one of the pro cycling teams, it all comes back to that they're doing way over 80% of their week. Is easy. What we, might not be easy for other people, but it's easy. You have to teach your body to stay in zone 1.
Joe isn't referring to zone 1 heart rate here. He's talking about lactate zone 1.
Well, I know all about them from doing my lactate testing, and that is the lowest intensity at which there is a sustained increase in your blood lactate levels above what they would be at resting.
Yeah, all right. We don't need to get too technical about it. Joe told us that if you forget about heart rate monitors and power meters, that means at the simplest level, you should be able to close your mouth, breathe through your nose, and that will keep you in the aerobic zone.
It sounds easy.
Everyone who's decided to just do HIIT training, high intensity interval training 3 times a week, has found out the hard way that there's no get fit quick solution.
Damn it.
If you have 6 hours of activity to train, say, nearly 5 of those hours are going to be easy. Most of us like to push ourselves once in a while, but the evidence says that you need to slow yourself down to get fitter from the bottom up first. Joe memorably put it this way. He said, you can't fake the speed camera of the human cell.
Ooh, I like that.
It'll catch you if you try to push too hard. So what you do, just ease off, take your time. All of this is true whatever your age, but as you get older, you can't fudge it, particularly if you've not worked on your base much in the past. You have to be realistic about whether you can sustain what you're doing for the weeks and months ahead. We need to be consistent, and that means we can't just hammer ourselves and wait till we go pop.
Now, anyone who has ever tried to gain fitness knows the importance of recovery. When you exercise, you work your body, and then after exercise, your body recovers and your fitness increases to its original level. And then, if you get things right, it'll adapt to a higher level of fitness. That's essentially how training works, as long as you recover sufficiently to make those gains. But does this change as you get older? Well, as we age, our bodies tend to become less efficient at recovering. So how much recovery do we need? How much do you need?
Well, Joe told me that you need to judge your recovery according to your personal circumstances. Someone who's new to cycling is going to take longer to recover from a 90-minute ride than someone who's done 90 minutes 500 times before in their life. Someone who goes out and does 2 hours quite hard on a Saturday morning, say, might take 3 days to recover. Somebody in the same group who's more base level fitness, they might recover in half the time. Their fitness might mean they've not had to work as hard on the ride, they've not had to burn as many matches, if you like, so they'll recover quicker.
I always burn all of my matches.
That's all well and good, but the tricky bit for me is knowing when we're good to go again. Joe did say that if you're getting ill more than once or twice over the course of a winter, or you're losing motivation, those are the signs that you're not really recovering properly. Let your body get used to consistency. How do you recover better? You get more consistent. You don't get more consistent at the hard work, you get more consistent at doing the easy work.
Now, most coaches agree that strength training becomes even more important as you get older, both to combat sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength, and the loss of bone density. Cycling is great for many aspects of fitness, but maintaining bone density isn't among them. So you need to do something to put that straight.
So once you hit your 50s, definitely in your 60s and 70s, you get this gradual lowering of muscle mass, says Joe. So most of us don't do physical work. We don't lift things off and we tap at keyboards or whatever. And that isn't putting much stress through the body. So we need to simulate some of that. Cyclists sometimes have very little upper body strength, for example, especially as they get older. But it's important for your holistic, long-term lifestyle. We don't all need to hit the gym 3 times a week and get ripped.
You can do quite simple things with the body weight, and I've just got like a 40, 50 kilo barbell around it, literally around the house, and I just think, okay, right, I've got 20 minutes, just do some work, because you can always do that cardio stuff at the low intensity. If there's anywhere where people should work harder and obviously build it up over time, resistance training is the place where you want to do the effort, because you want to stimulate the muscle for short periods and make it feel stronger and keep it there.
It is quite easy at home as well, isn't it? Like you could just do some press ups,
you just need to get into the habit. I think that's Joe's thing. Is you just want to bring it into the way that you live. Mm-hmm. Most people aren't especially session focused when they're exercising just to be fit rather than fat. But strength work does stimulate the metabolism and will help you avoid overuse injuries. A mesomorph, a person who's naturally muscular, might not need to do as much as an ectomorph, someone who carries little muscle naturally.
I think I'm one of them.
When it comes to muscle as you age though, if you don't use it, you'll lose it.
Okay, so you're working on your stamina on the bike and strength through resistance training, but what about suppleness? That can often head south as you get older.
Joe was saying that it's not that you have to be a gymnast or a contortionist or anything like that. You've just got to combat inflexibility. If you're into cardio, riding your bike, you might not want to set time aside for flexibility work. You might not naturally move in that direction. But you should, because you don't want to be inflexible and then find you've injured yourself by pushing part of your body constantly in a single range of movement. Working on your flexibility might also help you keep up with your mate on the bike in a year's time or in 5 years' time or whatever, because you're not going to be the one who can barely bend their back or reach their pocket for food or whatever. You can find plenty of things like Pilates and yoga to follow on YouTube. If you don't like doing that, get a mate to come along to a Pilates class with you, because you need to enjoy it if you're going to be doing it for a long period of time. People really gain from things like Pilates. Joe says get in that class for 6 months and then come back and tell him that it hasn't worked for you. It will. The competitive part of you might think that it's not worth it, that you need to be out getting in another night ride or an interval set or whatever, but we're all very good at working to our strengths. Chances are you're not doing much suppleness work because it's not your chosen thing. So add some in, make yourself more of a rounded athlete. If you want to be totally holistic, go and see someone for massage, go to a chiropractor to get the balance absolutely right, whatever.
Get your back sorted.
It's about thinking long term and doing the things that are going to extend your time as an athlete.
I mean, you see a physio quite regularly, every time you break your shoulder or whatever.
We're very much on first name terms.
So diet. There's so much information out there, some of it quite contradictory. So we all know that necking fast foods and loads of alcohol isn't going to do anyone much good. But what guidelines should you follow to maximise your bike fitness as you get older?
Yeah, I think everyone realises as they get older that little things start to make a big impact. If you overeat certain foods or have a diet that's not very balanced, you can't just ride it off. So you need to develop good habits. You burn calories by cycling, but they can quickly be ingested.
If all you do is eat cake and drink beer, and although that sounds like a wonderful lifestyle, they're not going to be as lean as they want to be, and they're not going to recover as well. But we don't have to be a monk. You know, I'll eat in the kitchen. I've got a homemade cake that my daughter made. I'll go through that. And people say, oh, I didn't think you'd eat cake. Why would I not eat cake?
My Whoop, actually, I'm not wearing it today, but if I have some beers in the evening, even though I'm not too old yet, my recovery is down the drain.
Oh, really? That's really interesting, yeah. Well, I mean, Joe's point to us was that most people who are overweight are probably just eating the wrong foods. There's great research out there that says over-processed foods can change your brain. You can't ride them off. You'll get fatter, and unfortunately, you'll get more addicted to them. There's a case for listening to your body, eating foods that work for you. We need to be as varied as possible, and cutting out entire food groups probably isn't going to do us much good. You can do a very simple kind of self-science. If I eat and I feel good, that's probably not a bad food for me. If I eat it and I feel tired or lethargic, or I start eating and I just have to finish the entire loaf of bread or the whole tub of Ben and Jerry's, that's not a good thing. So this isn't just about your head, it's about what's actually going on, the chemical reactions inside your body.
Pringles. I can't stop eating a tube of Pringles.
It's
or
wired
Jaffa
in.
cakes, actually. Jaffa cakes, whole pack gone.
Try a certain breakfast, for example, and see how you feel 90 minutes later. You need to be sure you're not confusing your brain with loads and loads of caffeine. Just eat foods, see if they feel unnoticed or whether they spark fatigue or Moorish pig-out frenzy.
You just live on coffee, don't you?
Mostly. You might be fine with water on short rides, but you need to fuel longer stints in the saddle. Most of us aren't super high-level professional athletes who need to be chugging down 100, 120 grams of carbohydrate an hour, but you do need to look at things that help provide energy on longer rides. You might not want glucose drinks, you might prefer bananas, dried fruit, nuts, whatever. That's fine, that'll work. For most rides beyond 90 minutes, say a snack or a meal 2 hours before you head off should be enough. Beyond that though, it's all about trickle feeding foods that give us energy and keep us mentally focused.
So what is your go-to ride food?
Okay, going totally against what Joe's saying. Everyone knows that Snickers is the best to keep you going.
Yeah.
They're readily available every garage in the UK.
Yeah, although during the winter they're particularly chewy.
Oh yeah, they can be hard to get into. You stick them under your armpit, loosen them up. It's just a job.
There's a fine balance there. And speaking of balance, our next section is getting the balance right. Because there definitely seems to be loads to think about when it comes to fitness at any age, but especially as you become older, it seems to be more important that you get that whole balance right.
You got 3 pillars to your fitness. You got your strength, suppleness, and stamina. Get a piece of paper, list what you do.
Or your phone,
Whatever. I mean, old school. You write down your weaknesses, the habits you need to improve. Personally, I'm already riding for stamina, admittedly. Sometimes a little bit hard maybe, but then, like many people, I'm not doing a whole lot for my suppleness. I think it's there that I need to start putting some time in. Then I also need to think about adding strength work, either at home or in the gym, but more than anything else, I need to make sure it's something that I'll carry on doing long term. You can't do a 3 month at the gym or whatever and think that's going to be it. Joe's final words of wisdom have stuck with me, and that was to think about stamina-based work, but don't try to cut corners by going out and riding ever faster. We know that just doesn't work. Enjoy your riding. If you enjoy it, you're going to come back for more.
Sounds good to me. Well, I'm a bit worried for our next office ride out now, if you are going to put all of this into practice. Let us know any of your tips for staying fit over 50 in the comment section below, Or if you've mastered all of these, then why not take a look at our bike fit tips to make you faster and more comfortable on the bike. If you like this content, then please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and we'll see you next time.